Well, hello, my fellow sensitive people. It's me, and I just completed my meditation for the evening. As many of you know, I practice heart centered remote viewing, and I'm trained in the heart centered remote viewing or the empath technique, which is a form of remote viewing where we attempt to give love or empathy to the target, the individual we're attempting to find out information about, and we see if we can't encompass them and to some extent see the world through their eyes. And by doing this experiment, this process, we hope to gain empathy for the individual and to see the world as they do. That's heart centered remote viewing. We don't necessarily see the future, but we see what the person is planning and what they are attempting to do in many circumstances, and what they will most likely attempt to do. So it's interesting because what I wanted to focus on tonight for my target was I did go back to connect with Donald Trump. And the reason that I did that was because I felt like a lot was going on with him. And I needed to know what it was to be Donald Trump right now at this time in U.S. history with everything that's going on in his administration. And the first thing that I feel is I'm moving towards anger and I'm coming out of denial. So we've talked about the fact that there is this grief and this death of this presidency that is coming. And that Elizabeth Kubler-Ross talked about the stages of grief, that it starts with denial. And that is, in fact, what we had with this White House, is that it started off with denial. Denial about a diagnosis, maybe congestive heart failure, possibly at least two heart attacks based on rumors and evidence, uh, based on physical presentation, congestive heart failure, possibly being tested for dual platelet therapy. That was how we felt. You know, this is strictly for entertainment purposes and based on the research we did afterwards. But I felt like I was in denial. And it was like I had hypnotized myself as Donald Trump. And I was telling everybody that I'm fine, I'm great, better than ever. I aced that test. I aced that cognitive test. I don't know what the MRI was for. This kind of laissez-faire attitude that this is the healthiest president we've ever had. This denial and engaging in a full-blown cover-up about the state of Trump's health. When people can see the bruises and the band-aids from the blood draws, it's very obvious to anyone that has even slight medical training that he's getting a dorsal hand blood draws on a regular basis. Probably due to, well, the most likely reason would be dual platelet therapy. If he's getting administration of some kind of Alzheimer's prevention, that's fine. But even if he wasn't on that, he'd still have to be getting his Plavix tested, his aspirin Plavix, etc. So I just felt like I had been in denial, that I was going to pretend that this isn't happening to me. And that makes me think, as Donald Trump, that I've been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, early onset. And I think that I thought that I could be in denial or that I could lick my health problems. I'm worrying about my legacy. I'm running around naming everything after myself. I want every peace award, right? Because I know my time is running out. But more than that, I'm coming out of denial and I'm starting to feel like I don't have my power anymore. I'm starting to feel like I've lost my power as Trump, and that terrifies me. And the first way of dealing with the fact that people are starting, they're not, I don't have the power I once did over people, and I can see it. It's this wounded animal that is growling, that was once a young beast, fierce beast, and now it is a broken, old, sad, growling animal that doesn't want anybody to come near it. And so we're coming out of denial, and now we're getting into the anger phase where we're going to start seeing more anger. When I went into this energy of anger, the anger was about the fact that I had lost control. I feel like I don't have any control over what's happening to me. So you want to be looking to that energy in the coming days, that Trump is losing control. He doesn't have power. He doesn't have power. He's coming out of denial. He understands the diagnosis, and he and other people know what's going on. And so he is starting to feel this sense of, I have lost power, I am losing power, I am losing power. And you may see that he becomes more angry and more aggressive and more brutal with his staff and with people under him as a way of reestablishing his power. That when you feel you're losing power, you begin to take your power back by being aggressive, by doubling down and being more cruel. The other thing that I felt when I went into this energy is intense animosity towards Pete Hegseth, because I felt like Pete Hegseth and the Department of War had screwed up, and it was going to screw up my legacy. So I'm now blaming, as Trump, Pete Hegseth for destroying my legacy because you screwed up with the Department of War, and now I look bad, and now because of you, I'm not going to get my Nobel Peace Prize. So now there's this anger coming out and lashing out and being extremely cruel to his staff, and blaming Pete Hegseth for all of his problems, including the fact that he wasn't given the Nobel Peace Prize. All of that is going to be heaped on his staff, but specifically Pete Hegseth. So that means that he's probably going to have to accept his resignation. Pete Hegseth is going to have to resign, because as Trump, I am extremely angry that, look, I'm not even nice to this guy at this point as Trump. This guy screwed me over. This guy has completely screwed up my legacy. And now people want to see the film of him calling for the murder of people on a boat that are clinging to their last breaths of their, the moments of their life. He's just ordered a war crime to kill these people. So this will taint the Trump White House, and it's really another thing that signals that it's the end of this presidency. His poll numbers are in the tank. They've tanked. They're even starting to tank now with Republicans. He can't get a break. His health is collapsing. I don't know. Supposedly he's meeting with Netanyahu December 29th. That's right after the Christmas holidays. I would not be surprised if that meeting took place in Mar-a-Lago, so that Trump could avoid that brutal winter that's going to be coming to D.C. And that kind of weather Trump is going to be wanting to fly like the southern bird that he is, hiding out in Florida. He's going to do everything in his power to stay out of D.C. during those cold winter months, particularly with his health being the way it is. But yeah, that's how I felt as Trump. I felt like this guy had ruined my legacy. So expect anger and lashing out. It's just fear that's starting to manifest as he comes out of denial, anger, and then fear will come. Then you'll start to see the fear, the realization of what's happening to me, the realization of what's happening to my brain, what's happening to my body. And that makes him want to do what? Cling to Melania. Right? So clinging to her hand, you're going to hold my damn hand. She pushes it away, and he demands she hold his hand. That fear and needing to cling to mommy And you'll see Melania needs to stay closer. Now he needs a little bit more pampering from his, and she, of course, is the last thing in the world she wants to do is take care of this guy. But that is the situation she finds herself in because of everything that's going on with him mentally, including having to be there with him and watch him in case he says or does something and slips up because his cognitive decline is becoming so apparent. All right, I want to thank you for watching this quick remote insights into Trump's mind from a professional heart-centered remote viewer. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, if you need a consultation, I would love to give you a consultation. You can find all that information below. Of course, we do sell gift cards for the holidays. Thank you, everyone. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We'll see you next time. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.